Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. My name is Matthew Skelton. I'm here with my co-author Manuel Pais, and we'll be talking to you about Team Topologies in action, some early results from industry. I'm the founder at Conflux, and I've got a background in building software and helping organizations to become more effective at delivering software. Manuel.
I'm Manuel Pais. I'm an independent IT organizational consultant and trainer.
So we're the co-authors of the book Team Topologies, Organizing Business and Technology Teams for Fast Flow. This was published by IT Revolution back in September 2019, so just over a year ago. And we're very pleased with how the book has been received over the last year, and you'll see some of the organizations who have been using the ideas in the book later in our talk today. The book has been described by people like Charles Betts, who's at Forrester Research. He describes it as innovative tools and concepts for structuring the next generation digital operating model. So the ideas in the book can be quite strategically important for organizations in this kind of space. So what kind of problems can we solve using Team Topologies? What kind of questions does Team Topologies sort of address? So here's a few. Why is our transformation not achieving fast flow? What's our purpose and mission as a team within the organization? Why are our teams not able to respond quickly to business needs? And then finally, how can we safely remove low-level complexity from customer-facing teams? So these are examples of questions that Team Topologies can help resolve inside an organization. So the case studies today have all evolved since the book was published, about 13 months, just over a year. So that it's quite early days, really, but there's been long enough time for these organizations to make some good traction, get some good headway with these approaches. And there's 4 organizations we'll be looking at today: Footasylum, Pure Gym, USwitch, and Wealth Wizards. Just before we get into the case studies themselves, let's just look at some key concepts from Team Topologies. So there's 4 team types, 4 types of team that we define. And the fundamental type of team is a stream-aligned team. This is a cross-functional team, mix of skills, with end-to-end responsibility for kind of build and running of a part of the software system, business domain, set of kind of features or something like that. No handoff at all. They build it and they run it in the live environment. And then we've got 3 supporting types of team: enabling team, complicated subsystem team, and a platform team. And you'll see these shapes being used in some of the diagrams that these organizations have produced, and they've adopted this kind of these visual patterns and ways of thinking. And there are also what we call 3 team interaction modes, which define how teams can and should relate to each other at a particular point in time. Collaboration, 2 teams working together to achieve a specific goal for over a period of time. X as a service, 1 team providing, 1 team consuming, and facilitating, where 1 team is helping another team to overcome some capability gap or to move technology or adopt a new way of working or something like this. And this is typically how we might see these team types and interaction modes combined in a diagram. There's always an implied flow of change left to right in all of these diagrams, and that's really important. That's like a kind of key visual concept, which makes these kind of diagrams look a bit different from some other diagrams, from some other kind of ways of representing teams. So let's have a look at the first case study. This is from Footasylum. Footasylum is a retailer based in the UK, founded in 2005. They've got 70 stores in the UK now, and £260 million worth of revenue annually, 2,500 employees. And in early 2019, they started to make some changes to IT to make it more responsive to business needs. At the time, so back in January 2019, there was a high fragmentation of work and focus within teams building and running software. Historically, the piece of work would start with a senior project manager who would give it to a team of product managers, and then they would assign these some tasks to individual developers. So this led to the priority of work kind of changing on a short-term basis, depending on who was most frustrated in terms of what they needed to get delivered. And it prevented a focus on wider business outcomes. And so it's quite apparent that the way the team was organized at that point was creating the way in which the teams were organized was creating poor outcomes for the organization as a whole. There were many different implementations of very similar things because work was not coordinated across different groups of people. And the cognitive load on individual developers was very high because they had to work in many different languages, many different similar implementations that were slightly different, and so on. So there's a decision was made to really kind of radically change how work happened. And they started by identifying sensible boundaries, typically mapped to business domains. So they, in their world, they came up with e-commerce as a business domain, the retail EPOS systems, customer experience, and ERP, enterprise resource planning. And then he also had what they called a services team. And so by having these four main business domains, that mapped to how the organization treated its own business. And so there was no handoff in any of these teams. They could take a concept or an idea or a change end to end and own that and deliver it. So they were setting themselves up for a fast flow of change. And then they saw me and Manuel speak at DevOps Enterprise Summit London 2019. So about a year and a half ago now. And it was kind of just the right time, if you like. So they took some ideas from our talk and some